There's just so much going on. So today, we're going to decode that overwhelming funding environment and really transform it into a clear, actionable strategic playbook. We're stepping away from all the chaos and building a direct, logical path to help you scale your vision. To do that, here is our roadmap. We'll start by tackling the wall of noise, then define the actual startup tools at your disposal. After that, we'll build your decision-making framework, navigate the unique 2026 landscape, unpack the founder's strategic playbook, and finally, wrap up with your immediate action plan. So let's kick things off with Section 1, the wall of noise. Before we even think about building a strategy, we need to validate exactly how you're probably feeling right now trying to get your company off the ground. It's just a wall of noise. I mean, when you're constantly hearing about accelerators, incubators, government grants, angel networks, and venture studios, it usually leaves founders feeling completely blasted. It's honestly the default feeling in the startup world today. So if you feel like you're just staring at endless disconnected options without a map, you are definitely not alone. But, we can't just stay stuck in that confusion. Our whole goal in this explainer is to cut straight through that noise and replace it with a focused, highly effective strategy. Success today means knowing exactly how to pick the right resource for the specific stage your company is at, and more importantly, understanding how to actually leverage it for tangible growth. Moving right along to Section 2, defining the startup tools. Okay, before you choose a path, you absolutely must understand what the vehicles actually are. Let's look at the classic difference between an accelerator and an incubator. Think of an accelerator as a fast-paced boot camp. It's usually 3 or 4 months designed purely for speed and scaling an idea that already exists, usually ending in a big pitch day. On the flip side, an incubator is a much slower, more open-ended environment. It's really focused on hatching an idea from scratch. They serve entirely different stages of your startup's lifecycle. The crucial thing here is understanding the distinct trade-offs of each tool. Accelerators give you seed capital and a great network, but they're going to demand around 3 to 8% of your equity. Incubators might just charge you fees without taking a slice of your company. Venture studios, they'll actually embed their own engineers and marketers right into your team, but in exchange, they're taking a much larger equity stake. And then, of course, you have grants. These are the magic words, non-dilutive funding. You get the capital to support your R&D, and you keep 100% of your ownership. Knowing exactly what you're sacrificing for growth is the absolute foundation of your strategy. But hey, never underestimate the human element in all of this. Did you know mentored founders actually achieve 3 times better outcomes? It's wild. Investor networks and accelerators provide what we call smart capital. It's not just a check, it's their expert advice, their massive Rolodex of connections, and their credibility transferring directly to you. Honestly, this is often the most valuable part of the entire exchange. All right, on to Section 3, the decision-making framework. I want you to actively play along with this thought experiment right now. Think about your startup today. What is your single, undeniable need? Is it just raw cash to keep the lights on and survive? Is it expert guidance because you're totally stuck on product development? Or is it the network you need to reach those crucial first major customers? You really have to identify that one critical bottleneck, because your answer dictates your path entirely. This is the priority matrix. Every single day, you are weighing capital, network, and mentorship against your willingness to part with your equity. If expert guidance is your absolute top priority, then trading a little equity for a top-tier accelerator makes total sense. But if you fiercely need to protect your equity and simply need cash to fund some heavy research, well, you should be hunting exclusively for non-dilutive government grants. Your number one need dictates the tool. And remember, actually, scratch that. It's crucial to remember. This answer might completely change in 6 months. That brings us to Section 4, navigating the 2026 landscape. 60%. Let that sink in. A staggering 60% of Y Combinator companies this year are expected to be AI-focused. This single statistic is a massive flashing sign showing exactly where the gravity of the market is pulling right now. We are seeing these major, specialized accelerators popping up exclusively to fund and support AI companies. So what does this mean for you? Well, because the generalist programs are leaning so heavily into AI, you must be incredibly targeted. If you're an AI founder, you're looking at places like Excel and Google Atoms. But if you aren't building the next big AI model, you need vertical-specific programs. If you're in health, look at Halcyon. If you're specifically in mental health, look at SeedSpot. You have to find those niche programs that are explicitly searching for your exact type of solution. Okay, let's level up with Section 5, the Founder's Strategic Playbook. This is where it gets really fun. It's fascinating how we can elevate those foundational choices into pro-level advanced tactics. You can dramatically extend your runway using what we call the stacking strategy. Basically, you don't just pick one route. You pair an equity-based accelerator, which gets you the network and that vital seed money, with massive, non-dilutive resources. For example, imagine securing $150,000 in Azure and OpenAI credits from Microsoft, and then stacking that with $200,000 in cloud credits from Google. You're literally stacking these resources to artificially inflate your runway without giving up a single extra percentage of your company. It's brilliant. And that brings us to an incredible pro move, all about timing. If you time your VC pitch right after announcing a major grant win, let's say something like the Braze Tech for an Equitable Future grant, you are leveraging that external stamp of approval. Think about it. A major grant tells venture capitalists that a serious, rigorous organization has already vetted your idea and put money behind it. You walk into that pitch room with massive leverage to negotiate a vastly superior valuation. Now, we've got to talk about the traps where this playbook can go completely wrong. Fatal flaw number 1. Chasing the brand name. Please beware of chasing a shiny logo just to slap it on your startup's website. You have to verify if the program actually offers structural support for your specific industry. We see founders get in, give up a chunk of equity, and then just suffer through incredibly generic mentorship and terrible post-program support. Don't let vanity drive your strategy. And then there is fatal flaw number 2, the grant timeline trap. Look, government and foundational money moves at a snail's pace. It just does. Don't let slow grant payouts kill your startup because the cash finally arrives 3 months after you've emptied your bank account. The solution here is to build a blended capital stack. Mix in venture debt or revenue-based financing to bridge that cash gap and keep the lights on while you wait. Simply hoping the check arrives in time is not a funding strategy. A blended capital stack is. Finally, let's bring it all home with Section 6, your immediate action plan. Let's wrap up this explainer by giving you some hyper-specific marching orders. I really want you to follow these 3 precise steps to stop endlessly reading blog posts and start taking strategic control of your future. Step 1, open a doc and be brutally honest with yourself. Write down your number 1 undeniable need for the next quarter. Step 2, based entirely on that need, create a custom shortlist of just 3 to 5 laser-focused programs. And step 3, reach out to an alumnus. And I'm telling you, step 3 is literally the ultimate cheat code. Reach out directly to program alumni to hear about their actual experience. Send a quick DM, ask for just 15 minutes of their time. This is exactly how you bypass the polished marketing copy and get the absolute unvarnished truth. Ask them bluntly, did the program actually help you raise your next round? Was the mentorship real or was it just fluff? So I want to leave you with this final critical thought. Which specific tool are you going to leverage today to cut through the noise and scale your vision? Armed with this matrix and this playbook, what is the single most important move you will make right now to transform your startup's trajectory? Don't let the ecosystem overwhelm you. Choose your tool, make your move, and go build something amazing.
Sounds like a really good plan to do that. Sounds like a really good plan to do that. Welcome to Startup Founder Best Practices. Chelsea, if you're out there, you can turn your if you're out there, you can turn your camera on.
You got it.
I shortcut your name again.
You got it. You got it.
Yeah. So I'm from the South, so we shortcut everything.
I got a short name too.
Okay.
I got a short name too.
All right. So how are you this evening, I guess?
I'm good. I've got this coffee.
Okay.
I'm stable. We're gonna get through this. We're gonna get through this.
Yeah, we're definitely excited to have you here and having seen part of your journey and hear I guess we probably met you there right at a year ago, correct?
Yeah, it was around this time at the business expo.
Yes.
I had just put my business, I registered my LLC.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't doing anything with it, but I walked by your table a couple of times like, how much could you? I'm very interested in the rewards of going through this program with you. But
Oh,
also, I did appreciate someone taking my idea and kind of, just testing it out and seeing how viable it actually was, and seeing that I could actually do it. So that was always something I'll always be grateful for, because once I went through it, I was like, oh, I could do this. I could do this.
yeah. And a lot of people don't realize I have nothing to do with the judges during the pitch demo night. I let them, I prepare the scoring sheet for them, and then they decide. And and I guess you were surprised when they chose you, one of the winners, huh?
I was very surprised. I was like, I won. Wow. I mean, this has been an idea I've had since 2020. And I think it was just, finally sharing it with people, getting it out, and, you know, having someone actually say, yeah, I would put money behind this. I was like, oh, I
Yeah.
could really do this. It
So
was great.
yeah, so ideas in your head don't do any good. You got to get them on paper.
Hmm. You got to
And
take that step.
yeah, that I think, but that's what that business model design course does: to get all that stuff out of your head into with that one page clean canvas, and then you can sort of learn how to communicate it a lot more clearly. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So I'm glad you took advantage of the opportunity, and so we what so my thing tonight is I want folks to learn about your journey and to kind of get an understanding of it, but to realize the opportunity for themselves, and just by learning from your journey. So just take a minute to kind of go ahead and introduce yourself, and then I'll go in and give a little shout out to our sponsors and partners. But just go ahead and do a quick introduction here.
Hi, I'm Chelsea. I'm the owner operator of ICEA Optical Outfitters and Boutique. And I can say this, Lloyd,
Yeah.
Pensacola's first mobile optician. That's the first thing people say now when I meet them. Their first mobile
Okay.
optician. So
Fantastic.
I have been in my field for 12 years. I have been licensed 6, and it has been quite the uphill battle. And I've decided that, you know what, it's time for me to like conquer this hill and venture out on my own.
Fantastic.
Um,
Fantastic.
so yeah, it was really like that. Starting out with when we met, Lloyd,
Hmm.
at that time I was working at Lens Crafters in the mall, and basically kind of plateaued in the retail environment. So when
Okay.
I started in this field in 2017, no,
Okay.
2015 or 16, I was 25. So I was
Okay.
25 when I started in this. And the story goes, my glasses broke on the way to an interview, and I was panicking, and I didn't know where to go. And there just happened to be a glasses shop right up the street from where we lived. Handed the girl my glasses, and I really, watched her, and I was like, this is a job. Fixing glasses is a job. And she goes, yeah, it's a job. And she's like, we're hiring. And I'm like, okay. So I go to that interview. And then I came back and applied for that job, and I was holding
Wow.
down 2 jobs
Okay.
for a while. I had been working in restaurants for about 10 years up until that point. And glasses was just something new to me, but I had bartended. I was a technical trainer. I had worked for UGA in Georgia, the Department of Safety. I had done everything.
Okay.
So it was really funny because glasses took all my experience and put it into one thing. I did direct sales. I did all this stuff, and glasses was all of that. So my first year, I worked for $1 million store, and I sold $385,000 in that $1
Fantastic.
million store.
Yeah.
So they were pretty impressed with what I can do. And my only thoughts were, let's get into management. But the issue was getting into management. There was a lot of, it wasn't very merit based. It's very, good old boy based. But one thing that we always had was an optician, and they would shut down the store if there was an optician. If there was an optician, we could make sales. And I
Right.
was like, why is this person so important? So I noticed that thing that they had influence on our business. And then the next thing I noticed was that they were all older. And I was
Yes.
like, so this tells me that people love what they do and they'll do it for a long, long time. And I've met opticians that are like 80 years old, so they stay with
Wow.
it for a very long time. So I was like, okay, we got job security. And then one of my coworkers, she went through the process of getting her license, and she was over there making close to minimum wage like I did. And then I figured out, oh, you passed your test? Okay, so how much you making now? And she had doubled her wage. And I was like, oh, tell me more. So
Yes.
I that was it for me. That was a wrap. So from then I was at Eyeglass World when I first started, and then I went to that I had a little stint at Lens Crafters. I did Clarkson Eye Care. I was at iMart Express. And then I ended up at Walmart, got my license, and I went from making like $13 an hour close to like 26 because that was right in the middle of COVID. And
Yes.
then it was just up and up from there. I got into management. And then I once again hit another plateau. Management was my aspiration for a very long time. Um,
Yes.
but after that, I realized in the retail environment, vision center managers didn't have anywhere to go, honestly. So um, I decided to step down. I wanted to pursue a different avenue. That really didn't work out. I wanted to get into speaking. I ended up getting an advanced certification. So I have an advanced ABO, which means I can teach on a collegiate level. But
Wow. I didn't know
again, again, there was no job. There wasn't a market for that here.
that. Yeah.
So I had my last role, which was at America's Best. I went to a trade show for my continuing education hours, and this idea, ICEA, I actually had for my capstone project in college. I was going to college throughout this whole entire process up until my license. So I was going to school full time. I was working full time, got my license. And now
Okay.
I was a manager and I'm going to a trade show, my very first trade show. And I always had this in the back of my mind. So just to put the everything in order, I got my license, went to school, done all this stuff, had my uphill battles with corporate, decided that I don't see a future, no promotion, no progression. I decided to file my business anyway. Didn't know what I was going to do, but I decided to file it anyway. I met you, and I was like, I'm going to, join this pitch competition. Won the pitch competition, and now I was like, what am I going to do? Well, I knew from going through your program the cost, and we watched that video just about investors, and I needed someone to inject a lot of capital into my business, or I could adapt and evolve it to something that could be a little bit smaller and a lot more effective and impactful. So I was trying to figure out that last piece.
Yes.
How do I make this mobile, get rid of the overhead, adapt the business model that I know would be easier for me on the front end? I want to have to put
Yes.
up with capital, and I would be able to get started. So when I went to the trade show, that's where it clicked. They're like, "Oh, welcome to a lab. This is a lab rep. This is a frame rep." And it was marriage made in heaven. I was like, "Yes, let's do it." So I came back. I put in my notice in um, March of this year. And there was a lot more that happened at that trade show. I think I just kind of reignited my passion for what I do. I absolutely love what I do.
So let's drill down on that a little bit, because I up until the last couple of years, I've frequent trade shows, my whole career, and so it, basically, if you want to know what's going on in your industry, you go to trade shows, right? And so it sounds like that's what happened so just tell us some of the things you learned at that trade show that you had no clue about.
Well, one was I didn't understand frame reps. So whenever you work at a retail shop, your corporate office is always just giving you frames.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand, well, how much does a frame cost? How, what exactly led you to choose this brand over the other?
Yeah.
And I actually met with a couple of frame reps, and I told them specifically what I was looking for and what I was trying to start here in Pensacola. I said I wanted brands that embraced all ethnicities and bases,
Okay.
because one of our biggest issues with being a retailer was glasses were either too short for African American faces, too narrow around the bridge, and a
Yeah.
lot of people ended up wearing sunglasses and couldn't just get traditional dress eyewear. So I
Yes.
wanted that, and I also wanted something with um, a easy price point that I not only could afford but would be attractive to any of the clients that I had. So if I did want to provide, basic eyewear and premium eyewear, I want my premium brands not only to give you that premium look, but be, something that's affordable and
Yeah.
cost effective. I wanted them to see the quality in it. So a lot of brands, they they expect when a potential buyer comes in front of them, they don't they're not really communicating, the ethical points that I was coming from. They
Yeah.
just, do they look nice? Do you like the way they feel? Buy two, buy 20.
Yeah.
So I had to learn how to build those relationships and, figure out what a buy-in was, buy back, figure out all the terms I didn't know and wasn't familiar with. And then when it came to labs, my priority was, do you work with the frame rep, or do you work with this particular brand because this brand is known to be a part of a lot of Medicare and Medicaid plans?
Yeah.
So do you work with this brand? Is this a brand that you partner with? Do you provide packages with that brand? And if they did, it was better for me because I don't have to have as much inventory on hand.
Yeah.
So if that brand and that lab are already partnered together, it was more appealing for me to choose that brand over
Okay.
the
So that, I never thought about that in it. So like different people that vendors in the industry, they partner with each other to give better service to
yes.
the retailers, I guess, or whoever's buying
Yes.
your stuff. Yeah.
Yes. Because of course, when you talk about your product and the markup of the product, the
Hmm.
issue becomes, okay, for me to get you this, I have to do X, Y, and Z. Well,
Yeah.
if the lab already has, the first three steps covered, and
Yeah.
I can keep, my inventory doesn't look threadbare, it's more
Yeah.
attractive to me.
Okay.
And it's better for the patient too, because they am I getting this frame? No, I'm getting everything complete from the lab. You're getting everything completely new. And I just tell the lab, use this package for this frame and send it back to me with these measurements. So
Yeah.
it
But
was a lot of
yeah.
that.
Yeah. So, but before you went to the trade show, did you have any clue about any of this stuff?
No, no, I was very aware. I was aware of it, and I was trying to get in, but I did not have the connections to get in. So the trade
Gotcha.
show was very helpful. I connected with one person, and it wasn't even a lab person. It was the people who did my website. The people who
Okay.
did my website were like, "Hey, we like what you're trying to do. You should talk to this brand." They connect me with my local rep, and my rep recommended all these brands and all these labs. And I was just like, thank you. So it was just like, it was really easy. But I was actively searching for those solutions when I was there, for sure.
Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, and so you sound like it was the smartest move you made.
It
Yeah.
definitely helped me be a lot more confident in making that move,
But
for sure.
let me ask you this: if you had went to a trade show a couple of years ago, how much difference do you think that would have made in with your idea?
I probably would have done it a lot sooner. But I'm thinking about where I was a couple of years ago, and
Yeah,
maybe the support wasn't really there. I probably would have been a lot more hesitant. But I know a couple of years ago, I know I had the capital to get this off the ground. I definitely know I did.
yeah, and so the one thing I noticed when after I met you that you were working long hours and it was hard for you to attend some of the workshops and stuff like that. And so, yeah, so it sounds like you, if you I didn't understand how, I do understand hard work and I do understand working over long hours, but what motivated you, you know, to work all what was going on that caused you to have to work all those hours?
So one of the things that I was chasing at the time, what I believed what I should have been doing was I was chasing a salary. I was always chasing a salary.
Yeah. Mhm.
At the time, I had joined a company and they were I asked for a certain wage. They provided me that wage. However, the business could not support that wage after I joined the team.
Right.
So even though I was an essential member of the team, my hours were cut significantly. And
Gotcha.
what I would thought was going to be a 40-hour job came down to a 32-hour job. That was what full time was. And I just bought this house. I was just
Yeah.
like, I had two jobs while I was going through the Kakua
Okay.
program. So
Yeah.
I was trying to make ends meet. And that was one of my motivations was, get the job, a better paying job
Yeah.
with quality of life so that
Hmm.
I could fund my business idea.
Gotcha.
But that didn't happen. It ended up, I got paid more, but I'll just say my psychological safety was compromised. It's very
Yeah.
toxic.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And so, you know, I want to, talk about that a little bit. Um, the so so that video I showed at the beginning, it was about how you leverage the ecosystem to kind of move forward with your business idea.
mhm.
And so I think a lot of people have learned, whether it's correctly or not, that everything requires all of this money, and so like you want that small pitch competition. I think it was only $1,000, right?
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah. But you know, did you know they were having, like, in the past 10 years, they've had two pitch competitions that's been over $200,000.
I'm sorry, it broke up. Can you say it again?
So like in the last 10 years here in Pensacola, they'd
Mhm.
had at least two pitch competitions that each time they were over $200,000.
Oh, I just heard about you the first time at the Vision Expo, so I wasn't aware.
Yeah, and so like I participated in pitch competitions, for wide varieties. I played as low as 300 to 250,000, and but like 5 6 years ago, they were having pitch competitions for $2 million, $1.5 million, and
Mhm.
so and some of those like that, the higher ones, they may want equity, but so like if you in a pitch competition that gives 100,000, the ones I participated in, they didn't take any equity, and I've actually applied for programs and got to the finalists, and like for $500,000,
Mm, mm.
no equity.
That's awesome.
But you say, but so that's what I'm saying is people don't realize the ecosystem will actually help you with your idea as long as you can pitch your business model and show in a way that it can become scalable.
I think I completely agree with you. I think one of the things that I was missing in that time was access. I wasn't aware of those things, and I'm still trying to navigate, I guess, how to get those customers into my funnel right now. That's
Yeah,
my
yeah,
big thing.
yeah.
But I know through this program, I am aware of that. And one of the things I wanted to do was have a grant proposal actually written up, and I've already put it through my AI, but I use a Copilot. It
Hmm.
just came with Microsoft, but
Yeah.
it has just kind of I have that prepared, and that's what I plan to do is use a grant program or just submit my business model to grant applications and get those available.
Yes. So let me touch on that a little bit too. Trying to think of what would be a good way to kind of talk about this. Most people think about when you get money that you don't have to pay back, it's a grant. Um, so
You still have to pay taxes, right? Don't you have to pay taxes?
well, it just depends on what the situation is, and just have to work with your accountant on that. So like, but one thing I want to mention before I talk about all these different types of funding that you can get is that um, there's plenty of funding out there pre-revenue.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? I just want to make sure people understand that as well. But you still have to have that business model, and you have to be able to speak that business model clearly and concisely. And the lean canvas is the way you do that, because it sort of touches on all the things that are actually needed. And so when you hit on all those things, and when you writing out application to get in a program that gives you money, like the first program I was in, not the first that gave me that was an accelerator. It was pre-revenue, and if you got in, you got $25,000, and there wasn't enough applicants.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so so what I'm getting at, I guess you could call that a grant, but it was still getting into a program, but it was through the city of Fort Walton.
Oh.
You see what I'm saying? You had no idea. You
No.
yeah, and so I think, see, this is why people, like, until you made a decision to go to that industry show, it just you don't know about things until you do. So like they're most major corporations have programs, and so like let's say people who are looking for innovations in your industry, it might be a corporate program that some big company has in your industry, and they literally fund the things, and sometimes they do it without equity. In the case of a pilot,
Right.
so there's just so many different ways you can get money that's not applying for a grant. You people think that, and so that's why you have to get involved in the ecosystem in the industry, so you can learn all these different ways you can get income before you get revenue, and in some cases before you even start your business, or before you even do an LLC or anything like that. People have all these ideas, but they don't realize how the ecosystem works. And so I was in a program with the lady. It was a workforce program with the Kakua Institute with Goody Nation. And so this lady, she she had an idea, for a patent. So she went and got in Atlanta, got the pro bono service free to get the lawyers to file her patent. She had to pay the fee to file it, but she got it filed. Okay. And then there was a program down in New Orleans that gave her $10,000 to flesh out her idea. You see what I'm saying? But people don't. You literally have to. You can't just keep putting up this wall, say I need money. You have to get in, talk to people, and understand the opportunities that are available. That's what I'm saying. So like before my company made a dime, I probably had got, I had got like almost 150,000 in cash, but had got over 300,000 in in-kind services.
In-kind services.
That's stuff. So like, like if you're a startup, you get stuff that you don't have to pay for it.
Oh, nice.
You see what I'm saying? You get, you get free cloud service where you can host your website. You get free, maybe Chat GPT or some other stuff. There's just so many. You get software for free. There's just so many things that you don't have to pay for.
What is something that's coming up that I could probably get ahead of now that I've actually started? Is there anything locally that I could take advantage of?
So like, never think locally, think globally.
Okay. What's something that what's something that I could take advantage of now?
Yeah, and so, so that's why you have to learn about the ecosystem and how it works, and especially for your industry. So so the idea is, it is a lot of confusion out there, and so that so the way I did it was, um, for my industry, I I I made sure I had information coming to me about stuff related to my industry. So all the different, I got signed up for the different newsletters. I listened to podcasts that were about my industry. But long story short, so the way it works is like you put your, so just like you have a LinkedIn profile, in the startup world, you have a startup profile. And so you put your startup profile into like f6s.com and several other sites. You put them in there, and so and so all these things. That's where the opportunities come to you.
Mm,
You don't have to actually go out looking for them. And so,
okay.
like, one of the opportunities I got, what year was it? It was like November. This was an unusual opportunity, and I'll tell you about another one. The same thing happened. Uh, you get on these people start sending you all these opportunities, and so, there was, one that it was a corporate type accelerator,
Mhm.
and so you got to do a pilot for a major corporation, and so, uh, and all the funding you got, it was yours, no equity, nothing like that. And so in my case, I got to work with Avis Budget, IBM, uh, uh, British Petroleum, and I had all these people helping me with my venture.
That sounds awesome. I would
Yeah,
like. I would definitely love to have someone set behind that. A lot of the stuff I found, um, it's through social media.
yeah. So I'm glad you said that. So you find so like you follow all these, like in your case, I would follow all the programs that support Black founders. I
Mhm.
would find, the vertical the so if you're kind of in the medical industry, I would find all the, corporate stuff in the medical industry. I would find programs that support women. You see what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
depending on, like, so what you do is you get it where the opportunity come to you in through social media, in your feeds. They come to you through your email, and you get messaged on LinkedIn. And so one of the weirdest opportunity I got that fit my industry was, I got this email, and I think it was like, sometime around Thanksgiving in 2018, and so I looked at the email. I said, it was interesting. What was interesting about it? It was exactly my industry, and it said exactly what my product did. And this was still pre-revenue. And so, so this opportunity ended up being a $45,000 opportunity, but I ended up going over to Poland for like 4 months, and they paid my way to go over there and help me with my housing. You see, and provided me training and connected me. You see what I'm saying? It's like, but see, like, people put up all these mental blocks. I need this. I got to have this, and I got to have that. But what the way I looked at it, and this is my philosophy in life in general. If I'm doing something, I want to know all the resources that are available to me.
This is
Period.
true. This is
Period.
true.
Yeah, and so that's just my nature. And so
Yeah.
if you're a startup, all you have to do, so you can start, Google for startups, Microsoft for startups, uh, every IBM for startups, everybody. You see what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, all these programs out there. And when you get in, like, so one of the first programs I got in, even before this particular startup, I was doing my, mobile, app to do with networking. So Facebook for startups.
Facebook for startups?
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? People really, if you just keep thinking that old mindset, you got to have this and you got to have that. So I got so much free stuff for being in that program. It was crazy.
I was able to get my medical software completely free. I was
Yeah,
grateful for
fantastic.
that. So I was able to do that. I think I'll definitely have to capitalize on sharing my business with
So
others so that I can take
yeah,
advantage of other, like as you said, pre-revenue. I never thought of pre-revenue. I'm always thinking
yeah,
revenue, but
yeah.
pre-revenue.
So now and I'll show a picture of this in a minute, but the way the ecosystem works is that if you're at the idea stage, there are programs for the idea stage, and then the next stage is where you kind of starting to develop or get to where you kind of develop your product or service, and then so there's uh, um, organizations that support those things. This is worldwide. That's what people don't realize.
Um,
Um, yeah, and so and never think about what's local. Because there's stuff local, there's stuff regional, there's stuff in Florida, there's stuff in the United States, and so if there's a national program, that means you're eligible. If you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, the grant program that I had looked into was through Pink Print Firm, and it gave
Mhm.
like you get they give you a pitch, they give you a business pitch, a business model, and they give you a grant, right? And they
Okay.
write it all up for you. So after that, you're supposed to take it to like these national databases and basically flood it with your information. So
Mhm.
that was kind of where I was thinking of. I think I was stuck on the local bit because when you mentioned that last grant was from, or that last pitch was from Fort Walton, I was like, that's right down the road. I could definitely go there.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
was just like, that was great. But
yeah.
I definitely, I think, I know I'm keeping my business local, but I know I
Yeah,
completely see
so
any
this is
revenue from anywhere.
so this is the way. Yeah, you always start wherever you are, and then you try to grow. So, but you just have to think about what. So this is the secret. So you're doing exactly what you're supposed to when you prove that your business model works by doing it manually.
Mm,
That's what like all these startups that you see, they started off doing it manually,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
like Stripe, Airbnb, all these, they started doing it manually.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? And
Yes,
to prove out that it actually works. And
yes.
and then that's when you say, well, how can I make this scale out to people? But see what most people, what you have to understand is that you don't pitch what you have now, you pitch what you're building.
Oh, I could definitely speak towards that for
You
sure.
see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
for
so,
sure.
like, so this is the secret to the startup ecosystem. And even though there are programs for traditional business, and so like, um, the what you do is, so in business model design, you can design a business model that's scalable, but you start manual. You see what I'm saying?
Makes
But your
sense.
your your, your vision is scalability, and
Mm-hmm.
so for you, it's like thinking. So what if I come up with a system to make it easy for other opticians to do what I'm doing? You see what I'm saying? And I
Right.
provide all the infrastructure for them so they can actually get started.
So I have thought about that. I have thought
Yeah.
about an educational platform because
Okay.
just with becoming an optician is they don't make it easy for people in Florida. You have to have 6,200 clinical
Yeah.
hours. You have to have 2 national certifications plus your board certification, and then you maintain your license, and that
Yeah.
requires 20 hours minimum every 2 years.
Yes.
So I was trying to overcome the gap and make it a little bit more accessible for you to get
Yeah.
your license.
Right.
So I
Okay.
was
Good.
thinking educational platform
Yes.
in the realm of business. I
Yeah.
was thinking franchising because I saw just you could get a lot of this done and just overcome a lot of the issues that I had
Yeah.
if I could provide this in a compact box and deliver it.
Yeah.
I thought that would be really good. And
Yes.
then from there, public speaking, all that good stuff. This
Yeah.
can. would be a scalable idea.
But see, so the secret to taking advantage of the ecosystem, you tell people where you are now, but you tell them where you're going.
Right.
And so that's so you always pitch the scalable business model, but you pitch one of the things in the pitch, you remember the traction roadmap. So you let people know where you are now, you let them know where you plan the next 30 to 90 days and on out. And so that's what mistake people make. They think everybody thinks you have to have everything right now, but the startup ecosystem, it's based on phases and milestones that you're going through. So people count themselves out because they, the, the business model is what gets you rolling in the startup industry. So that's the mindset you have to understand. And what enabled me to understand it was when I worked for the government there in Okaloosa County, for research lab, Air Force Research Lab, you know, it's a research lab. So you come up with ideas and you get them funded. And so a person on the outside, may not realize me on the inside working for the Air Force Research Lab. If I had an idea, I literally had to go pitch to get funding for it. I literally had to pitch. And so you get some funding for your idea. Then you could actually pitch for funding to take it to the next step, to start building prototypes. And then if you wanted to do demonstrations, you had to go pitch for money to do that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, you have a lot of experience in this for
Yeah,
sure.
but see, the startup ecosystem works the same way.
Oh, okay.
You see,
Yes,
it works the same way. And what I learned early on was, and I didn't realize it, till I was down in Miami to a trade show, I guess you could call it. And
yeah.
so I meet this. Somebody introduced me to this lady that runs a nonprofit, and so I told her I was from Pensacola and a little bit about my startup, and she said, "Well, we work with founders here in Miami, and founders that are making 5 to 10 million a year, and we help them get to 100 million."
Nice.
So you see what I'm saying? So that's trying to get somebody to really scale out.
Yeah. No, that's good though. You always want to think further.
But to help, would you thought there was see, this is what made me realize no matter what stage you are, there's help from idea to exit.
I'm definitely in that process of just trying to find the right network. I think one of my biggest things I'm proud of is that I did find a mentor in my industry who could help.
Fantastic.
That was really important. But they're very adamant about, putting myself out there, making sure that I, am giving a value-based product and not like don't basically undersell myself. But when it comes to getting those other streams of income, I probably definitely need to, I definitely need to look into that more, if not for peace of mind, but for just, like you said, the scalability, because I've planned for the next phases of my business, includes, taking insurances and make sure I diversify my inventory as well as, the people I'm catering to. So I've thought about that.
So that's really good, but that's really so you just as when you work on stuff, you're actually innovating. So I guess I don't remember. Did you get on the Startup Science platform? That's one of our partners.
I don't think I did. I'd be happy to.
Yeah. So so the Startup Science platform, it's like the ecosystem in a box. So it's got free in-kind stuff or discount stuff. It's got a database of grants
yes. I remember that. Yes, I thought it was. Yes, I remember that. I didn't think of it for Happy Thursday. I didn't think about it for this part of the of my startup. I mean, when I won the pitch competition in October, and it was just this March that March when I decided to quit. That was a little chunk of time. and
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
just it just didn't circle back around.
But see, like
Yeah.
so that program, that the startup science thing, it's actually evolved. We've been partners with them, I think, since late 2022, and it's totally involved. So now they've got everything in there. They got the grants, they got sample documents, and so like what made me think of it was when you said industry advisor. So startup science, it goes through phases. You know, it tells you what to do in each phase of your business. And
Okay.
yeah, and it was designed by a guy who had, um, went through 12 exits, and those exits totaled up several $1 billion. So he put everything he learned from going from a vision or idea to an exit. So it's
Mm,
designed to, so like, even if you're not planning on doing exit, this is what people get all confused. That they say, I'm not planning on getting an investor. It doesn't matter, but you want to know the recipe for success.
mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So in the vision stage, the idea stage, guess what he says you should have? You should have an industry advisory board,
Mm.
voucher. So you got a mentor in the industry. So but guess what? He also says you should have like a product or customer advisory board.
Oh,
People who know about your product or service.
mm-hmm. That's important. I don't have
Okay.
anybody on that now.
Yeah, but it's just this is just the idea that the way a person thinks that's actually went through a process 12 times, um, and so that's what you have. So it's just a pattern that people think. So the other thing he tells you to do at the stage you're at now, find a company that you can follow that's similar to what that's already further down the road than you are, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel on everything.
I definitely have that. I have a
Okay, good, good.
they call them optical innovators, and I actually was just on there before I joined you all.
Okay,
But there's a
fantastic.
lady who's been doing this for 2 years, and she meets with us once a week. And then there's a lady who's been doing this for almost 15 years. Plus, she
Fantastic.
has another 38 years in the industry as well. So she's twice
Good,
experienced.
good.
She's
That's
very helpful.
fantastic. And then the last thing I'll say is it says in the vision stage, pick the company that's going to buy you.
That's gonna buy me.
Yeah, to buy your company.
Oh, I don't know if everyone's gonna buy that right now.
But no, but say like you pick the company. See, when you're in an industry and you're developing something that's gonna be big one day,
Mm.
so you want to pick the company that's gonna buy you, and so like so you're gonna fill a void that they haven't been able to fill because they're big and they're not nimble and like you are to be creative and do all this stuff, and
Oh,
so the idea is the whole startup industry is designed to get people through the sale funnel so these companies that got all this money can buy whatever startup is because they don't have an innovation team.
makes sense. I'm not sure. I'm not sure who I would be interested or who would be interested in purchasing me. The only thing I could think about is like a school because of the.
Yeah. So that's where see. So like I'm trying to think of what's the best way to frame this. So you remember we were talking earlier about like that business model design prompt.
Mhm.
Like so you have to become familiar with the industry and all the stakeholders in the industry,
Mhm.
and so like for example, when I did that thing in Poland. No, not the one in Poland, but when I did the one that was in San Francisco and London, when I went to the kickoff meeting, they had all their corporate lawyers there, to do the due diligence if they decide to buy your company or not. You see what I'm saying? And
Oh,
yeah, and this was a early stage thing, and it was and believe it or not, it was for the autonomous vehicle industry.
oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah, this was like in 2018.
And now we
All
have
this-
self-driving cars. That's so
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, and so like so they were like British Petroleum. They were pitching what they were doing, and so people say, well, what the world is British Petroleum have what in the autonomous vehicle industry? So they are all this stuff you're seeing now was already planned many years ago, and so it was neat to see my company names on the British Petroleum slides,
It
and
would.
yeah, and you're talking about the future and all that kind of stuff. But the 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 bottom line is they do these innovation programs, to kind of get the technology into their company, but they also, if you look at these big companies, they buy other companies all the time
True.
instead of having to reinvent the wheel. And your industry consolidates, really heavy.
It
Yeah.
does. There's definitely a lot of, I would say there's innovation, and they're changing. But one of the things I just feel like I'm covering the gap is getting people a unique experience and
Yes.
just making sure that they actually get what they want and they get the attention that they
So like,
need.
so like, I'm glad you're talking about that. So let's just walk through a customer buying experience with. So let's use me for example. I remember when we first met. The first thing you saw that I needed some glasses. I still need some glasses.
That's all right. That's all right. Come on over. I'll help you out.
So what would be the customer journey in my case? So like I just so the audience can actually understand how you do business.
So I guess the first thing I would say is, even though you wear glasses, it's that pain point that would actually drive you to me. So I would address like a customer who would want to work with me probably doesn't have insurance, or they've used your insurance already for the year,
Uh-huh.
and they are looking for something to either um, just subsidize it. So a lot of insurance plans, you can't buy a new frame for 2 years. So you buy it and then you can't purchase another one for 2 years. So there's this gap here that you can replace your lenses in your frame. But some people just
Okay.
don't want to do that, especially if their prescriptions change. And then there's the inconvenience of sending your frame off, or maybe you just don't like what you see in the store.
Mm-hmm.
So that person is looking for not only a unique experience and a unique product, they're looking for something that's affordable. If you happen to be working class, it's a little difficult for you to take off to get your exam and get fit for eyeglasses. So you're not really looking forward to those long store visits or returning back to the store,
Mm-hmm.
because communication drops a lot of times with retailers from the time you place your order to the time you pick up. So if you're coming to me, you're a cash paying customer, you
Mm-hmm.
don't have a lot of time, and you're looking for something that you don't find anywhere else. So you would text me, and I'm on all the socials: Facebook, Instagram. I'm also on TikTok. TikTok's a little bare, but we're working on that.
Okay.
Um, you would text me. I would contact you, and I don't have an appointment book. You make a request for a morning or afternoon appointment.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of give you a little time to explain what you're looking for, and then we confirm a time on the day that you prefer, and then
Okay.
I send you a link, and it's an intake form. That intake form allows me to ask you questions about what you're looking for. And there are a lot of open-ended questions. How do you wear your glasses? Do you have UV protection on your glasses? Have you considered glasses for any of these activities? Pick
Mm-hmm.
a color, pick a style, pick a material, and all that information comes back to me. Now, based on that, in our conversation, I will know a price point that you're interested in. I will also know the styles that you're interested in.
Okay.
I curate the frames. So, being a gentleman, men's frames, two price points, sunglasses, if you're interested in that. And if you need any other specialty eyewear, I would bring those frames with me.
Okay.
Um, to the designated place and time. I
Okay.
have accounted for people don't want me in their homes. We can meet at there's a hotel chain that I love to work with. And it's easy for me to either work in the lobby, but if you want privacy, we can work in the boardroom. And then, ooh, I see myself. I'm frozen. Okay.
You're good.
So when we meet up, I do your fitting, make sure everything fits well, and say, okay, I'll contact you when the glasses are ready. When the glasses arrive, I inspect them and call you when everything's good. And then you can say, you know what, I'm at work.
Okay.
I'm at the Kukua Institute. Can you come and drop them off? And I show up with your glasses, the necessary adjustment tools, and that's it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Mhm.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's pretty neat. So I'm gonna, try out your process and see how it works out. And so, like what I tell people about, in our demand validation class, you and I were talking about this, that my insurance allows me to get a pair of glasses every year and also contacts and
Mm.
and where I go to Walmart, Robin goes to the eye guy or somebody, and so she always say I spend too much, but I always see what she spends.
You're
yeah,
always going to spend when it comes to eyewear. Yeah,
yeah,
you're always going to spend.
yeah, and so so that's kind of what the deal is. So so in our demand validation class, you teach the concept of the customer forces and getting people to switch from what they're currently doing to what you have, and so even in the 30 days, I don't know if you remember business model design class, it said that when you're doing your one out elevator pitch, your idea or the value you bring has to be 3 to 10x better than what the customer really has. In order to do that, you have to innovate.
Hmm.
And so you're learning the system of the industry and seeing the high margins in the industry and seeing how you can bring value, a quality eyewear at a reasonable price. And so that's what people, uh, so that's what you have to when you're getting people to switch from what they're already doing, even if they're doing nothing. And so that's what we teach early on. That's what your competition, whatever the person is currently doing, that's what your competition, even if it's nothing. And so the idea is you have to be able to get them to switch. And so, but that's what's really important, and um, and to making sales.
It is. You have to overcome those detractors and make sure
Yes.
that you address all the pain points and make it as easy as possible. I
Yeah.
think that's what I'm finding when I go to some of these. I'm speaking at a lot of retirement homes and senior centers and all that
Yeah.
good stuff. They're looking for activities, but a lot of the people I've made appointments with, they like the fact that I'm coming to them and they don't have to go out and get, if they have their prescription, it's easier. But it just makes it a whole lot easier for me to come to them and not have to leave their home. It makes it a lot easier for them. And a lot of people, a lot of the business professionals we've seen, I've been oh, a lot of the business professionals that I've spoken to have just been looking for something different. And I think
Uh-huh.
being able to be their personal shopper and stylist is very attractive to them too.
Oh yeah, the personal stuff. That's value that you're actually bringing to those people, and that's why that wide now elevator pitch, it doesn't have your solution in it. It
Mm.
has the customer segment, the the problem that customer segment has, what they're currently using, and finally your unique value proposition. How how good is your value proposition to want to get them to switch
Right,
from
right.
what they're already doing. So Joseph, has asked me about startup science. So I looked on there, Joe. I was surprised not to find your name in there. Uh, but because most of the founders has been through our program already, have access to that. But Joseph, just go ahead and this is for all the new folks too. Is just go ahead and fill out that form there. It takes two minutes, and we'll get you signed up for the startup science thing. And right now it has AI all integrated into it and everything, so it should be good to go. So anybody else in the audience have any questions, and so we can get your questions answered? And we'll be glad to do that. It could be about anything. If you have questions for myself or Chelsea, and we'll be glad to answer them. And I got a surprise for you, Chelsea.
What's that?
And I do this quite regularly. Is I based on your LinkedIn profile. And in your case, today, since you came to speak to the students, I want you to tell the folks about your experience there, and I'll key up what the surprise I got for you.
It was really fun. I got to go speak to the high schooler. Well, they weren't high schoolers. It was like
high schoolers and a few college students, mostly high school.
Yeah, but they were up there and they wanted to hear about adulthood and the woes of adulthood, the ghettohood of all. But I think I did pretty well. I got some of them to interact, and we had a good conversation about, my career, what they could possibly make. And I just listened to some of the ideas they had. It was a great group of kids.
Yeah, good. And and they're learning about it's like a work-based learning program that the county, Scammon County, and Career Source, the workforce agency, has. And so that's what that's all about. So let me share my screen here, and so folks, so you heard a lot about Chelsea's company and her background. So what I did is I took the her LinkedIn profile, saved it to a PDF, and I took since she told the students about her
Oh my God.
her founder story, and I
Is
took
this
that.
recording?
Yeah, I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play it here in a second. But so you talked to the students about you said something about what do you call it, a capstone?
Yeah, capstone project.
Yeah, and so how did you describe what a capstone project is? And because I had never heard it described in the way you said it.
So you got an arch, and then there's this little like wedge at the top, and it keeps the arch stable. And it's supposed to be, the pied de resistance of your senior career. It's supposed to show that you learn something. That's how it's.
Yeah, and so so what I did was I took your transcript from there, and I asked the AI about your founder story. So it just generates your founder story based on how you explain when I asked the question about your journey, and you gave a really good answer. And so I just took that and your LinkedIn profile and created this video. So I'm going to go ahead and play it, so you'll get idea. The audience get idea.
Explainer. Today, we're looking at how one incredibly driven professional took her deep industry expertise, mixed it with some serious corporate burnout, and basically engineered a completely new, innovative business model. We're analyzing a really fascinating portfolio that details the journey of Chelsea Brody. She's an expert optical professional with advanced certifications from the American Board of Opticianry. Honestly, her story is just a masterclass in how to pivot, and we're going to break down exactly how she pulled it off. So, have you ever felt totally boxed in by the system you work in? Wondering if all that daily friction could actually become the blueprint for your own success? It's a question so many of us grapple with. Can corporate frustration actually fuel innovation? We usually think of frustration as a sign to just throw in the towel or, find another identical job. But as we're going to see in this explainer, the right kind of frustration, when you pair it with immense skill, is actually a massive catalyst for disruption. Okay, so part one, building the foundation. Because before you can disrupt an industry, you absolutely have to understand it inside and out. Chelsea didn't just wake up one day and decide to start a business. She put in some serious time in the trenches. To give you a sense of her raw capability, just look at this number, $385,000. Starting her optical career at Eyeglass World back in 2014, she didn't just slowly learn the ropes. No, she sold $385,000 in her very first year. That instantly proved her high-level sales capability and earned her the title of an elite sales associate right out of the gate. And over the next decade, she built up an unbelievable depth of expertise. We're talking 10 solid years of sales and patient care across major retailers like Clarkson Eye Care, iMart Express, Walmart Vision, and LensCrafters. She became a Florida licensed professional, and get this, she passed her National Optician and Contact Lens Board exams right in the middle of the pandemic. She realized opticianry was this perfect storm of science, healthcare, fashion, technology, and service. She literally mastered everything from complex lens fitting and AI-supported progressives all the way to running massive retail operations, even managing a $327,000 business in 2024. She built a rock-solid bedrock of undeniable expertise. Which brings us to part two, the corporate friction. Because despite all that clear mastery and the massive value she was bringing, the reality of traditional corporate retail started to fracture her experience. You can see the tension right here. On one hand, her performance was stellar. She's consistently hitting huge numbers, training other managers, driving business growth. But on the flip side, the corporate system was pushing back hard. She was being held back by metrics she literally couldn't control, hitting walls with limited promotion paths, and dealing with severe understaffing. And naturally, that environment started taking a very real toll on her mental health. The system just wasn't rewarding her immense effort.
Holy cow.
That's where it gets really interesting. Instead of just accepting this broken system or becoming what she calls a lifer for one company, she made a major mental shift. That friction became her founder motivation. She took all that intense daily frustration and turned it into the vital fuel for her next big move. She didn't let the corporate reality defeat her. Instead, she let it educate her on exactly what not to do. All right, let's move to part three, the mobile solution. So the real pivot point happened during a school capstone project, right amidst the massive disruptions of the COVID pandemic. When the world basically shut down, traditional access to optical services was completely cut off, right? But people still fundamentally needed glasses. Now, compare the old way of doing things with her new vision. She saw that while mobile optical clinics did exist, they were pretty much exclusively treated as charity or nonprofit services. But with her corporate background, she saw a completely different angle. The new opportunity was staring right at her, a sustainable for-profit mobile optical business bringing premium eyewear service directly to the consumer. It was just a massive gap in the market waiting for someone with her exact technical skills to fill it. But, ideas are easy. Execution is everything. First things first, she stepped away to rest and recalibrate, which, by the way, is an absolutely vital step for mental health. Then, she meticulously built out her back office. She traveled to trade shows to source vendors, carefully picking out frames, and setting up highly secure encrypted medical record software. And incredibly, she launched this entire new venture without taking on a single cent of debt. None. That is the sheer power of methodical, expert-driven planning. And the core of it all is this radically simple but totally disruptive model. Instead of making families drag themselves to the optical shop, she literally brings the optical shop to them. She brings the frames straight to the customer, helps them choose, gets the glasses made, and delivers them right back. I mean, it completely solves the access problem for busy working parents who just can't afford to take time off work for an appointment. And let me tell you, her community-focused approach is undeniably effective. Just look at this number, 126%. That represents the massive growth she achieved in community fundraisers, all while simultaneously spreading vital medical awareness. She brought her energy, her communication skills, and just a profound love for human connection right into her own model. It absolutely proves that doing good for the community and running a highly profitable business are definitely not mutually exclusive. Okay, bringing it all together in part 4, lessons for future founders. Let's zoom out for a second and translate Chelsea's specific story into a blueprint you can actually replicate in your own career. When we break her journey down into these 6 exact steps, the architecture of a founder becomes super clear. Step 1, she learned the industry inside and out. Step 2, she saw the system's gaps. Step 3, she hit those harsh corporate limits. Step 4, she identified a real access problem. Step 5, she built a targeted mobile model. And finally, step 6, she created a business that serves people differently. You see how that works? Learning an industry and hitting those frustrating corporate walls, that's the exact synthesis you need to create an innovative problem-solving business.
Not meant for everybody.
Seriously, if you're feeling workplace burnout right now, I really need you to pay close attention to this. Where does a business actually come from? It doesn't just materialize out of thin air. It comes from a skill you already possess, a problem you keep seeing over and over, a system that is visibly broken, a specific community need, and ultimately, the active, courageous decision to build a better model. Think about it. Your next great venture is probably hiding right there in the broken systems you deal with every single day at work. I absolutely love this quote from our source material. It just perfectly sums up the core takeaway of our entire explainer today. She did not just quit a job. She converted her experience, frustration, technical skill, and care for people into a business system. That hits the nail right on the head, doesn't it? True founders don't just walk away and complain. They take all those ingredients, especially the negative ones, and they use them to build something far, far better. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final thought to spark your own journey.
Wow.
What broken system will your frustration fix? You've got the skills. You see the gaps. Now it's totally up to you to build the solution. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today as we unpacked this incredible founder's arc. Keep learning, keep questioning the systems around you, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I thought you'd get a kick out of it. But really, that was one of the reasons that, 6 years ago we started this program, because what you did is exactly what folks don't realize. You work in these places and you see the problems, and all you have to do, you got all the experience, so you just have to come up with a way to come up with an idea, start working on a way to solve the problem. And the minute you start working on that, you become a founder. And the minute you become a founder, you become eligible for all these opportunities.
That's
And
awesome.
that's literally how simple it is. And you can start with zero. And what I didn't tell you, but 4 or 5 years ago, Microsoft even paid for your filing up of you get your corporate status.
Really?
Yeah, but then they switched to paying half of it. But you see, like, people just never don't even think these things exist. That's why to keep thinking about all these things you think you need instead of getting involved in the system and learning the system. Because if you don't know the system, you can't take advantage of it.
This is true. This is
And
very
so,
true.
yeah, so you learn the system of your industry, and so the startup ecosystem is a industry in itself, and you have to learn the system so you know how to take advantage of it. And the number one thing you have to do is speak the language of that ecosystem, and that's the lean campus. A bit pitching your business model. So we kept folks and kept you a long time. I burned up a lot of your time today, but I really appreciate you being willing to give and share, and we want to thank the audience for participating with the questions. We see folks out there from North Carolina and Philadelphia. So we appreciate you all hopping on tonight.
Awesome.
Alrighty. So any stuff you want to leave with the folks?
I just put my website in there, and you can find me
Okay.
on Instagram and Facebook if you want to just watch the progress. I would love that video, Mr.
Oh,
Lloyd.
for
That's
sure, for
great.
sure.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and yeah. So where did you put your? 'Cause
In the comments.
Okay, good. So okay, yes, I see it now. Okay, I'll put it up there so people can see it. Yeah, definitely take advantage of that, and so sooner or later she's going to come up with an idea that got a way to scale it out to where you are. She just doesn't know it yet, and she's going to
Probably.
get all. She's going to leverage the ecosystem to help get it all out there. All righty. So no, you don't have any based on your journey. Any last minute advice you want to give other founders out there that may be sitting on the ledge there?
No, I think that video summed it up beautifully. That was great. Just
Yeah.
watch it again. That's great.
Okay. Yeah. I'll make sure you get a hold to it but yeah. All righty. Thank you. I really appreciate you, Chelsea. I really appreciate the founders out there and the owners. We look forward to next week to keep y'all rolling. And yeah, and so this is June. So July, August will be our 6th anniversary. So we're closing on in, and we only missed one event in 6 years. Every Thursday. So yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we've been around here. And yeah, but all right. Thank you all. Y'all have a great weekend. Enjoy Father's Day. I'm definitely looking forward to it. All right. Y'all take care. Bye bye. In the stream here.